seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10.
It's way different. Yeah. So tell me when we live, T. All right. So, fellas, earn your leisure. Thank you for being on the program. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for having us, bro.
It's a pleasure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You guys, I've been tapped into y'all probably since y'all started podcasting and doing your thing publicly. The financial literacy is really dope to me how we live in a world now to where people like you teaching people finances and the art of the hustle is entertaining. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a good thing. Like, what do y'all think about that?
Yeah, it's funny you say that because we always the mission statement kind of when we started Earn Your Leisure was we mix business with pop culture and blend it together, and that's kind of like our blueprint of how we started. We wanted to kind of make it interesting, make it cool, and that's everything from how we dress to how we talk to everything that we do is done in that intention. To not make it boring, to not, have it go over people's heads, to make it understandable, relatable, but also have fun with it. Because that's, what we do. That's the environment that we come from is just, we like to have fun, sports, music, all of that stuff played a major part and still plays a major part in our lives. So combining that with business, it was just a natural fit and people really gravitated towards it for sure.
Yeah, when people realize, like, especially in the teaching world, there's so many lessons that you have just are boring.
Right.
And when kids are engaged, they learn more. And so we knew that the conversations that we were going to have were going to be engaging because everybody always crowded around us when we had them.
Right.
Whether it be in the barbershop, whether it's in the parking lot. And so now to see that the world is listening and gravitating toward it is like, all right.
And you're still a teacher, correct?
Yeah. I say I'm an educator now.
Okay.
I think teacher is synonymous with being in a school building. And, you have a ceiling. You can affect only the kids in that building. And an educator allows me to have no ceiling. I can educate the world.
So are you teaching as a profession in a school?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what subject were you teaching?
I was teaching phys ed and health for 15 years.
Okay.
15 years, man. So,
Coach.
yeah. That's what I said, that the ceiling in that space was like, you could be the athletic director or you could be the head basketball, football coach. And that was the highest you can go.
Right.
And it was like, that wasn't it for me.
Right.
I knew that finance was vitally important, and to keep perpetuating, nothing against sports, but hey, I need you to play this game, I need you to play this, I need you to be your coach. It was like, I need to have this part of it as well. So it was a good balance to actually step away and venture off in this aspect.
Okay, so y'all were best friends growing up, right?
Yeah.
Okay, or something like that. You laughing?
Yeah. Best friends in life, as my man Mike would say.
That's what's up. That's dope. That's a vibe. It's dope that y'all still rock together too.
Sure.
That says a lot about character. So you were doing you was a financial advisor, correct?
Yeah, I was a financial advisor. So, I always wanted to do something in business my whole entire life. I just didn't really know exactly what. So, my first passion, my first love was basketball. So, I went to school for basketball, college. And when I graduated, I did what most basketball players do as far as I was a communications major. Because that's what, that's the easiest way to go to get a degree and stay eligible. So, that's what I did.
Hey,
Just stay eligible, kid.
It's a means to an end.
Yeah, it's a fact. So, I was a communication major. So, coming out of a state school, went to the University of Hawaii, and communications, it's not, something that you're going to be able to get a job on Wall Street.
What is that? What is communications?
Yeah, it's a good question.
We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good question, honestly. When you find out, let me know.
Damn.
And so it's like one of these things where, but I kind of feel like most people are in that. Mm-hmm. I'm like the average person where I went to a state school. I didn't go to Harvard. I went to a state school, and I have a liberal arts degree. So whether it's communications, whether it's American studies, history, most people kind of fall. Most people aren't going to school for physics. Mm-hmm. Most people aren't, doctors. They're not getting even MBAs. They're just getting, basic liberal arts degrees.
Right.
The problem is that most people are relying on their degrees to help them. And that's where because if I had to rely on my degree right now, I'd be screwed. Mm-hmm. So, coming out of college, I knew I wanted to do something in business, but I didn't have a business degree. I didn't have business connections. I didn't, intern on Wall Street. So I did the next best thing in the financial world, which was be a financial advisor and take a commission job, life insurance, investments. So I got my Series 6, Series 63, my life insurance. So when you work with an insurance company, they'll always hire anybody really because it's a commission job. So 93% of the people don't make it. So it's a very high turnaround. And they'll like pay for you to get licensed and stuff like that. So for me, you know, I never really looked at failure as an option. So I went in and I made it. I was one of the like 7% of the people that actually go into this business that actually succeed. So, you know, I built a financial planning business based around the insurance products, based around college savings plans, based around IRAs, mutual funds, stuff like that. And, you know, building that business, obviously, you know, I'm constantly learning more and more and more about finances and things of that nature. And, you know, when Troy was a teacher in the Bronx and he had asked me to come teach a class for his students, financial literacy, like career day. And, you know, I came and that was the beginning of us starting in the classroom. And then from there, we developed that. He had a 6-week program every summer that he was running. And he brought me in to do a financial literacy day, like one day every single week for like 2 hours. I would teach a financial literacy class as part of the program to like ninth and 10th
What was the
graders.
total program?
So it was an internship program, and so kids that had aged out of the camp experience, like 8th graders, and the kids who were too young to work. So we had a group of 14-year-olds that I would sit with, interview like 30 to 40 of them, and they would tell me their future aspirations. And based on what they would tell me, their response, I would go out in the community and try to find a business that was willing to have an intern.
Bro, this is blowing me away right now. I'm gonna tell you why, because, you know, I look at people that are successful and that's doing well in their field, whatever they're trying to do, and it never fails me. It never fails. What I find is that it's people who genuinely want to help people. You know what I'm saying? And that's so dope. That's very, very admirable and respectable.
Nah, that's the key, and that's like shout out to my man Derek Falcon, a guest that we had on Alumni, and he said something that was so profound, like, stop lining your life up with bills and start lining your life up with purpose. And when you line your life up with purpose, that's when your life is really going to accelerate. And it sounds cheesy, it sounds corny, but it's actually true. Even us, like, this is something that we started, and we didn't have a business model in place when we started Earn Your Leisure. It was just to further the financial literacy that we was already doing and the advocacy that we was already doing. We figured that, you know, it would go somewhere, but that wasn't the main thought of like we could make a bunch of money doing this.
Right.
And by helping a bunch of people, now it has turned into a business. Yeah. So I feel like you have to have a purpose, and your purpose has to be, how can I help somebody, whether it's nutrition, whether it's business, whether it's education, whatever. Yeah. And I think that's where people get lost a lot when they start businesses, even us. Like, we've started a bunch of businesses and they've all failed other than this because the other businesses was just for money. We had no passion, and it wasn't to help anybody. It was literally, let's start a business to make some money. Yeah. And when times get tough or it's hard to do the day-to-day grind when you don't love it, right? There's no passion, and you know you're not really helping anybody.
Yeah. If you look at what we're doing now, it doesn't really deviate from our prior careers, right? Like, Shadi was in financial advising, I was in educating. We're teaching financial literacy. We didn't have to deviate from what we naturally did. And like I said before, we started it with kids in mind. Like, my goal was, I know kids are about to make a decision, the biggest financial decision of their lives other than getting married, which was going to college, if they were going. And if they didn't, we were telling them careers too. But they had no idea the amount of money that it would cost and the burden it could be if they didn't have the knowledge. And so, like, that's how the financial literacy thing started. And then when we started teaching them more lessons, taxes, banking, checking, like, they had never seen these things. And so it was like, all right, we got something here. And then we slowly realized that not only did the kids need it, the adults needed it just as much.
Oh, yeah.
And so it wasn't an age limit anymore. It wasn't like, we need to teach these kids. So if we start them at 14, by the time they're 21, they'll be out of here with the information. We realized that the parents didn't have it, and it was like, oh, there's really no age limit to financial literacy. We got something.
Right. Man, that's true, because I grew up with my mom using my credit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had shit on my credit that I'm like, I don't know what this is. JCPenney. Why would I go to JCPenney? You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's true. Like, you know, some of our parents didn't have the best education and things like that. So my father, you know, they came from Trinidad. My mother came from the South, her family. Not much education, you know what I'm saying? So when it was time for me to go to college, I had to figure that out on my own. You know what I mean? And it took me a long time to figure out all the normal and necessary things with finances. I had to learn on the job training. You know what I mean? You all right? So when you got the intern, or not intern, but the commission job, you must have. Did you teach yourself finances already? Did you educate yourself on all of these topics beforehand? Because you didn't study that in school, correct?
Yeah, no, I didn't. And I was always like, my first financial book that I ever read was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I read that when I was 18 years old. So I always was interested in stocks and investing. I just didn't study it in college, but I would always stay up to date as far as like the stock market, investing and stuff like that. And then, going into the career, I literally had to study for like probably 6 months to get my license. So it was really like going to college, like cramped in like a half a year.
What did you get most out of Rich Dad Poor Dad?
The Rich Dad Poor Dad, the quadrants, the worker situation, the investor, the business owner, that really changed my mind frame, because that's the first time I really heard anybody really explain that, like as far as how most people are stuck in the worker standpoint, and even most business owners think that they're actually a business owner, but they're really an employee to their business, because they don't have systems in place and they don't have passive income. Then like the passive income, as far as like investing, real estate investing, he was real big on real estate, but that really, opened my eyes to like, okay, the name of the game is not just to work for money. Even as a business owner, the name of the game is not just to work for money. How can you actually have your money work for you? And once I realized that changed everything. Then once I really started to apply that really changed my life, because now it's not really, I look at it now like, as long as we're making enough money, we're going to be good. But my main focus is on how can I invest the money, because I know if I'm investing it and it's growing, it's going to be there. And, I don't even have to worry about it. So that mind frame of not really chasing money, putting systems in place so we can get money, but more so focused on what I'm invested in, that just changes everything.
Yeah. I went and seen him speak. I'm friends with one of his advisors, who's a younger guy, and we went to watch him speak. And I'm texting my boy Amir out here. He's like, "What was it like?" And I'm like, "Bro, he's not saying anything that we don't know, and that we're not doing already. He's been doing it longer. You know what I mean?"
I actually paid to see him speak in the city too. I'll never forget the conference. I sat there and I was just like, "Why did I pay for this?" I remember he just kept telling us to buy nickel. It's going to be the next commodity. It's the next commodity. And I'm like, I really just paid $115 for this?
Yo, the one that I was at, I didn't pay or went with a friend, but they charged $10,000 a head.
Whew.
And it was mostly, and I'm talking to everybody there. It was interesting. I made money all my life. Before it was illegally, but I cleaned all of that up. And I've always been a go-getter and business minded. And I'm good at businesses. It just works for me. But I don't do it with the intent of making money. Money's always there, so it's never like a sense of urgency. I gotta get this. One thing is, you said it coincides with something I heard Deepak Chopra say a long time ago when I was in college. I learned so much in college. Like, it feel like that part of my life, I just absorbed so much information from everywhere. But anyway, he said, it was a CD, and he said, I never pushed on my kids to get good grades, make sure you get a good career. He said, I just wanted them to find something that they love to do, and make sure what you love to do is something that's helping people or animals or the environment, anything like that. And that's all you got to worry about. And he said they did, and as a result, they are successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's the vibe.
Yeah, that's it. And especially in parenting, like we both have kids. It's like we just let them choose whatever direction they want to go. We're here to help and give them, assistance in it. But that freedom, like you got a West Indian parent, so the West Indian, growing up, it was totally different. It was like, you need to be this, and that's the only way to be successful. And so when you're not one of those 4 or 5 things, it almost feels like, is there value on what I'm doing? Like, I remember telling my dad I wanted to be a masseuse. He was like, I'm not paying for you to go to college to be a masseuse. I'm like, but I'm good with my hands. He was like, you better find something else to do with those hands.
Right.
And so I was like, well, can't do that. Let me find one of those other things that I can be. And so it ended up with teaching. But that freedom of choice, that comes with the education.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It's interesting, man. I'm a father, And I'm a single father, single parent, and it's a fine line I walk with guidance with my children because I try to be like that.
Yeah.
And you met, well, you didn't meet him, but you saw one of my
Working.
sons back there. He working, he hustling. And I got a 15-year-old son too, and he's a brainiac. He loves video games. So I'm like, well, I said, all right. He wants these $3,000 PC gaming PCs, and I said, this is cool. However, you got to do something with it to make some money. So he streams, you know what I mean?
Okay.
And he edits his own videos, he knows all the programs, so he's good with that. So in addition to that, hey, why don't you take a coding course, So he's doing that too. So, and I try not to be forceful with him about any of that stuff, you know what I mean? There's certain things that I make them do, y'all gotta do, on a workout stuff and yada, 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 just certain things for discipline. But what you wanna do, what do you wanna do? Okay, that's cool, but you gotta be working at it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't tell them what to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like that's important. And I feel like, coming from working class environments, most people just follow the rules. And everybody that I know that follows rules really, has ended up getting hurt by that. Not following rules as far as like legally or illegally, but just following the rules of society.
Right.
As far as like go to school, get a degree, and get a job. And that's not really working out. It's just a rat race. So it's like, even for us, like, we living outside of the realm of what's normal. As far as, we created a business and we travel all the time and we created our own work schedule. And there's nothing that is like structured as far as how we structure it, how we want to structure it. And I feel like a lot of times that's not taught to us. We always operate out of a fear mindset, especially in our communities. There's always fear. Like, if you don't do this, this is the consequences. But what if you do this? What's the consequences for that? Like, what I'm saying? On the positive side, we always look at the negative. Like, you don't do this, you're going to be this. And it's like we always operate and like stay in the lines. But it's like, what happens when you go outside the lines? And this is what that's why I love, coming out here in California and different things of that nature. I feel like there's so many people that's living outside the lines. Yeah. And they're not afraid to dream. They're not afraid to really, chase their dreams. And that's really, to me, that's what life is about, because we only get one shot at this thing. So if you don't chase your dreams, if you're not going for it, then what are you doing?
It's crazy.
This is my, like, if I was a preacher, that's my gospel.
Yeah.
This is all you got, and I be talking to people, I was saying, not the other day, that what are you putting that off for? Whatever it is. Tomorrow ain't promised. Yesterday, forget about it, it's gone. We got it right now. And so I max out on now. I live hard. You know what I mean? With responsibility. I got children. I got people that depend on me, but I live. You know what I mean? I'm a risk taker. I calculate everything. I'm a thinker. I played chess all my life, so I think things through 50 steps before I make a move. But I live. You know what I mean? And you're right. A lot of people don't live because they stay in that lane because of fear. But that's not what they do. That's not how it's
supposed to be.
But whoever taught you that don't care about you. Like, who put these rules up? I've learned that most of the things that I grew up thinking was reality or the notion that we had to live by is wrong. It's false. And a lot of it is lies,
I think and I know Rich Dad Poor Dad was one of those books that we all started with, but another one that was impactful and had to deal with fear was Who Moved My Cheese.
I'm not familiar with that one.
So it has like these mice, and it deals with different type of personalities, and the mouse that has the most fear never leaves. It stays in the same pathway, where the other one who doesn't explores the world and explores the trap. And so a lot of the fear that I've seen, especially in my household, it was because of past circumstances, and so they predicate those feelings from the fear that happened onto their children. And so we see that a lot in our communities. But again, that comes with the lack of education. Had they known better at that time or had information at that time, the decisions would have been better. And so what we're doing is it's completely fearless, right? Like I feel like it's like the Matrix now, especially when I go back into the education field and see some of my colleagues. I look and I'm like, I wish y'all could see the other side of this.
Right.
The other side is completely different. And to know that I came from it, I feel like Neo in that space.
Right.
I want to show y'all all. They said the danger is that if I show everybody, who's going to teach the kids?
But the crazy thing about it is that there's two sides of the coin. Most people will never become an entrepreneur, will never chase their dreams because they've been so indoctrinated with living a certain way that they have so much fear that's built up into them that they just can't imagine that.
Can't do it.
But like being on the other side, like I never had a real job. I worked in a camp one summer, but I don't really count that as a real job. I never had a real job. So even coming out of college, working in a commission, that's you working for yourself pretty much. Like there's nobody, and that's why so many
that's
people
your own
don't.
business,
Yeah.
essentially.
So my brain, like I never, like to me, I would have a high level of anxiety if I had to work a regular job because I don't know how to do that. So I say that to say, I feel like we can be trained in any direction. We can be trained to follow orders, or we can be trained to be free thinkers and do whatever, because it's like, for me personally, like we have completely different stories because he was in school. So like I would always tell him like, yo, take a vacation, like take a day off,
No,
like
it's a fact. It's a
call
fact.
out sick.
Yeah,
Like,
like how many sick days you got? You're not using any of them?
Right.
because to me, it's like I always was able to get up whenever I wanted, go to sleep whenever I wanted. So I feel like even, there has to be some level of a balance because you do need structure in life. But I feel like the same way we are programmed to think one way, we can all think as free thinkers. And like I said, for me, like I'm a perfect example of that because I never really had any fear. I never thought about if this doesn't work because that's the only thing I knew. I didn't know any way. I never knew like, okay, go to work and get a paycheck. So I say that to say, if you're out there, chase your dreams because you never know. That's the thing about it too. It's like a lot of times people have high levels of anxiety and it's like, what if it fails? But what if it works?
Yeah. I don't even want to use dreams anymore. I just say chase your purpose, right? Because like people wake up from their dreams or they sleep on their dreams. So it's just chase your purpose. But what Shadi said is 1,000% correct when he said we're indoctrinated. And so I heard somebody say something so profound. It's like, let's change the doctrine then. Like if we change the doctrine, now this becomes a way of life, right? And so that I feel like that's what we're doing, and especially in the world of entrepreneurism, like we're showing people so many different things that you can be.
Right.
Whereas before it was like there's only 4, and if you're not, you either going to be a rapper or entertainer to be successful in our communities, and that's changing. And so like the doctrine changes, so now the mind and the free thinkers really feel like we can do this because they've seen us do it, they see you do it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It looks like to me that a lot of shift is being taken off of entertainers and more on people that's providing
precisely
legit, practical information in a cool way. I see a shift.
Yeah, especially athletes. Especially athletes. We just had this conversation the other day. I'm like, athletes don't even matter no more unless you like
for
LeBron.
real.
Unless you like LeBron, Tom. Like, there's like Odell Beckham. There's like a handful. NFL players really don't matter at all unless you like Odell Beckham.
That's true.
That's
Because they're
it.
covered up.
Yeah, you don't see 'em.
So-
You don't see
Yeah,
'em.
and even NBA players, their relevance is drastically decreasing.
Right. Yeah.
Think about it. Like, it's like, who's really relevant in the NBA? Only the select superstar players. The vast majority of players, nobody even knows who they are. And it's
Right.
like the social media influencers. And this is something that we can't just devalue. And shout out to my boy 19 Keys. I was actually just watching his clip with you while I was on my way here. He said something very profound. Like, in the history of time, having a million people follow you is like less than 1%. Like, nobody has really, like, that's a accomplishment. But we like just devalue social media influencers and just
don't.
like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, nah, these are influential
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
Whether it's fitness, whether it's finance, like you got 500,000, 1 million people, 2 million people following. They're following you for a reason. They're looking for guidance. They're looking for help. They're looking for education and information. And they're relying on you more than the 6 man from San Antonio.
100%.
Because the relationship is transformational.
Right.
Right? Like you hear information from us that you apply that transforms your life, right? Like it changes the trajectory of your family. Whereas when it's transitional, it's like, all right, well, I watched that game. That was entertaining.
That's it.
Turn it off.
It stops there.
It's done. The relationship is over.
Listen, I was watching, when people are doing the conferences, whether it be Him 500 just had one, Grant Cardone, whomever, right? And when I see like certain athletes, I'm like, what do you, like, they're paid to come up there and talk and they're saying nothing. I'm like, bro, this is weird. Like, this is weird. Like, I hate that you even, I wouldn't expect you to take that check. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you need that bag like that. You know what I'm saying? And is this not humiliating for you? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you said athlete, I was like thinking about that. I was like, that's so fucking real. I'll be on Clubhouse arguing with people. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I enjoy good
place to argue.
I enjoy good intellectual discourse, and I don't go there to argue, but I'm just me and I'm real.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't go looking for shit. They ping me in, I come in, and then you know they're usually complaining about some shit. I'm like, okay, you recognize this, now what, right? And one day they were talking about, it was called something like fake clubhouse influencers, something like that.
Okay, I think I know. I think I remember that situation. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm in there and I'm like, so what I'm hearing them complain about, I'm like, what? Why are you calling it fake clubhouse influence? I said, so all right, so I spoke. I said, so now what? Y'all recognize these, what you consider fake, now what? Yeah, well, why do you say it like that? Like, are they not? I'm like, influencer is an influencer. You know what I mean? Like, because they're talking about how did all of a sudden they have this many followers? And I said, look, it sounds like, and my message is out of love. Like, if I didn't give a shit, I just bounce, right? So let me try to tighten you up on something. And this is not productive. You know what I mean? Maybe pay attention to what they're doing. See how they're doing, how they're getting this following, because people are following them because they're influential. You know what I mean? It's not some nefarious, magical thing that they're doing. And if it's fake followers, it don't matter. Who cares? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and these people had a hard time dealing. They call me a sellout. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay. You know, people like they try to attack. I'm like, all right, that's cool. I don't go back and forth. I'm like, this is unfortunate. I just did. You know what I mean? But people, it's a lot of degenerative behavior and positions that people are stuck in, and it's unfortunate. And I try to shed light when I can. Even like last year with all of the George Floyd stuff that was going on and this vicious political cycle that we was in, man, I'm just trying to like put out fires everywhere. I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, you're not a politician. Stop saying these things. Like, people I knew, because they're, you know, they would shut down their Instagram because they're getting so much hate. I'm like, you're impeding your ability to make money because you can't help yourself but to talk about some shit you don't really know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? And you're defending Trump or whatever. And I don't have no pony in the game. Fuck all of them as far as I'm concerned. But you defending somebody who don't need your help.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna thank you. They don't give a fuck about you. You know what I'm saying? They got people for that. You need to be doing your thing. This one friend in particular was a real estate agent and pretty. Her Instagram helps her. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, you shut it down. Like, you got a daughter. You know what I'm saying? You got to make money. But people are in that narrow lane we were speaking on earlier of like, I got to stay and follow the rules and do this. It's a lot of other things that people are stuck with too. And that negative disposition and argumentative and, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not going to argue with somebody if I don't see a possible outcome at the end of the day and in a meaningful amount of time. I'll start and I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm all about discourse if we can fix something, you know what I mean? Even if we don't agree on certain things. And disagreeing is fine. That's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We leveling each other up. You know what I mean? So, that's interesting. Yeah, but 19 Keys, that's my guy. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. What you say is very important, having Discord, because what it does is it opens your mind up, right? Because now you get to see different perspectives. But another thing you said is key is about time.
Right.
Right? There has to be a balance there. I can listen to 17 experts speak for 16 hours a day, but when am I going to have time to actually execute on the information that they're giving me? And so people got to realize that part. It's great. The forum is great. Audio platforms that have a group of people speaking and getting information that you never heard is great.
Right.
But the other part of it is now you have their information. What do you do?
Application. Time is interesting you say that because I Gary V, I like helped him get on the map when nobody knew who he was, right? Especially in the fitness world. We did a bunch of shit together. The very first video we did, people were like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I'm saying? They didn't know who he was. They didn't care about him. But we kept doing a lot of things. And that was also to help him with that book, Left, Right, one of those books, a couple books ago. So there was another guy, I'm not gonna say his name, I respect him or whatever, but we were gonna do something similar. And I'm on a plane reading this book, and I was offended because it was so silly, right? So the title of the book, you would know what the book's about. Is a very obvious title, right? I want to say it, but I don't want to say it. I'll tell you after this. It was so I'm reading. As I'm reading, I'm like, this is dumb. Like these examples were dumb, and when I explain it to you, you'll understand. And I just didn't even want to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my time, sitting with somebody, because there's a lot of people who end up being successful for whatever reason, and they want to appeal to people who don't have anything, and like my way is going to help you.
Well,
right?
that's what somebody, Wall Street Trapper, told us this a while ago, where rich people don't make rich people rich, poor people do. If you really think about it, this is why most companies, most products they appeal to poor people, and they appeal to poor people's vulnerability as far as their mental state.
Correct.
Scarcity model, peer pressure, all of these different things are tactics, and these are things that people use, and even people, for our culture, they've been doing it for a long time, where we dictate everything. So a person in business or a person in anything, they'll latch on to the influencers in music, entertainment, fitness, things of that nature, to build their brand. That's not even their community. They building it off of somebody else's community.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of time we don't even realize what's actually going on, and then by the time we realize what's going on, they're already up $500 million, because they were hanging out with little fill in the blank rapper, and it's like, how you 50-year-old white guy hanging out with this rapper? Y'all don't even. Oh, you're using his cultural relevance, his clout.
They want to know what's hot.
It happens, and it happens a lot, and I see it, and I'm like, what do I do? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a real thing. Excuse me. But there is a big rise in our community, and I'm loving it. Like when I got involved in social media or whatever, I wasn't trying to have a brand. I was just doing my thing. I don't think anybody knew the scale of what was going to happen, what was coming. And at the time, I had, I've been through a lot of shit at this time, and I hit rock bottom, the lowest of low. So I started rebuilding my life, and I was just a personal trainer at a gym, and I would post my clients' progress. That was all I was using social for, especially YouTube. I thought it was dope that I can post a video of so-and-so only able to do 1 pull-up, now doing 10. You know what I mean? Instead of just a before and after picture. And that shit started picking up, and then I'll post my actual workouts every now and then, and that shit would just go crazy, and people like my perspectives on things. So I never tried to like grow social media, and even to this day I don't do all of the tactics to grow. I just don't. And a lot of my homies that I really fuck with, they do these things and they grow crazy, and they try to tell me, I'm like, it's cool, I don't want to, it's too much. I'm cool with a slow, steady growth. You know what I'm saying? I'm good with it because my people is a deep connection. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever people follow me is real. You know what I mean? So, but I'm noticing now it's a lot of black influencers in all different types of genres coming to the forefront, and I'm loving that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like Africa. Like, eventually they're gonna realize that they don't need the Europeans to come and mine the diamonds out of South Africa.
Right.
They're gonna realize that they don't need the Europeans to take the coffee out of Ghana. They're gonna realize that they don't, like, a lot of that obviously was done by force, and there's still systems in place, but it's the same thing here with our culture. They mind our culture. They come, and it's like
they're still doing it.
They still doing it, but now we realize, and we don't. So that's like earn your leisure. Like, so it's like business is nothing new. Like this business world, as far as like books, courses, content, all of that's been going on for years and years and years, but it's been somebody else. So now we have to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, because who else we gonna read? But now they see, like, all right, we don't have to go to somebody else. We got people right here, and other people can come to us. So now we're not just big in America, we big overseas in Europe and the Caribbean and Africa and all of that. So now these guys, they're on their last leg because they've already pillaged for long enough.
Right.
And we don't need them anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's a whole new stone.
It is. That's why it hurt me when I seen ex-athlete speaking at one of these guys' things, and I'm like, this is not your thing. And this guy asked me to speak at a couple of his things. I know him. We used to be neighbors in Miami. Fill in the blanks. but I was like, all right, we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I didn't, because I do, and at the time, like, I didn't understand the culture of teaching financial literacy. You know what I'm saying? I'm successful with business, but I didn't. What y'all do was new at the time. This was like 2 years ago or so when he was trying to get me to do his thing. Because I keynoted a few things, but I go up there and be practical about shit. You know what I mean? And I tell people, like, look, not everybody can be the CEO. That's not realistic. You know what I mean? And because, like, me, for instance, everything I got going, I can't do this by myself. But I treat people really good that's with me. That, you know what I mean? Isn't Mike Rashid is all of these people is the team. Is not me. You know what I'm saying? So but that takes me to another thought that I was thinking about earlier. So I do well. I do really good, bro. So, and I got multiple things going. But as far as like the investing, like I would invest in a business. You know what I'm saying? I'll buy a company that I see some potential and whatever. But I never got in like stock market or anything until last year. And
good time.
I bought I got in crypto. I bought one Bitcoin like 2017. You know what I mean? It was after the bubble. You know what I'm saying? So remember it was like 24,000. It came down. I bought it then like around 17 grand. So
you up?
But it's only one. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
but
one's better than none.
It is.
That's a fact.
It's a whole thing.
But I kicked myself because I bought a bunch of, at the time, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash.
Well, Ethereum's up.
Yeah. Good.
But no. I sold it back then because it kept going down.
Oh, okay.
I was like, fuck this. But I never sold the Bitcoin.
Okay.
I sold everything else. But I would be up if I had.
Yeah, Ethereum.
I bought a lot more Ethereum because it was cheap back then. So, but it's all good. Now I know. I actually did a move on XRP, a big move today.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So we talked about. I did a okay move, but I did a big move today. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck it, I'm gonna just do y'all thing 5 years in. You know what I'm saying? Minimum 5 year minimum.
Let it sit
you know what I'm saying?
Let it sit there.
So like my research on it, and then hearing you guys, y'all give me confidence in it. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not telling people to do it, but
that's
just
key, man.
Just the things that I'm hearing from people I respect, I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and knock
that's
that in.
key in investing too. Is like we're telling people our mistakes. Like we made no secret that we lost money in 2017. We wasn't properly educated.
What did y'all lose money on?
Well, it crashed. We got in at the tail end of 2017, and so it was a big bubble. So everything was running. That's when Bitcoin went up to 20,000, and so we had bought a lot of altcoins.
Okay.
Because we thought the space, the ideas and the white papers, which is the information.
Is it oil?
Huh?
What kind of coins?
Alternate coins. So anything other than a Bitcoin is an altcoin. So
I got
Ethereum, Tron, XRP, Cardano, all these are alternate coins to Bitcoin.
Okay.
And so we invested in those because at the time the prices were so low. We're like, all right, this technology could actually do something in the future. Let's get them now and we'll ride them up. And that didn't happen. It didn't happen. But the key thing we did is like, all right, we lost the money, but we're just gonna let it sit there. We still have the coins.
It's market research.
Yeah, it's market research, and like that's one of the rules in investing. Like we never invested something that we weren't comfortable losing.
Right.
But we didn't lose. You never lose until you take the money out.
Right.
And like my personal account is back up to where it was before, even higher. It's even higher because crypto is going on another run right now. So that's important for people to understand too. It's only a loss on paper. It's only a loss until you actually take your money out.
Right.
Because as long as it's in there, even if it goes down, it still has the opportunity to go back up. And that's literally what happened in 2018. Everything went down, and then it was going down for probably 3 years. And then last year started to go back up again. And now a lot of those coins that, were dead are back vibrant again. So that's just a lesson in patience. And, people get frustrated with investing. It's like if it doesn't work out right away, screw it on to the next thing. But
everybody wants to be rich right away, but we've been without for so long.
Right.
So it's like,
see, that's why I tell people, me and T was talking, we're all in now. So But we'd be like, what you doing now? You good? And T is very practical and cautious. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck it, bro. Just get it now. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm personally not afraid to lose shit. Because I've been broke before.
Exactly.
You know
We know what that feeling is like.
And I can always get it back. Like, and for me, the stock market is a game. It's not real life. It's real life in the sense it's real money. But I've made money the hard way all my life. So this is fucking fascinating. You know what I'm saying? And I did good last year. I hopped in because I never hopped in the stock market until last year. I think in April or May. And, you know, when everything was down, I hopped in when shit crashed. You know what I'm saying? And I made a good return. I should have left everything in, but I took it out because we needed cash for the building. You know what I'm saying? Because we were trying to buy it, and the type of loan we were trying to get, we couldn't get. So we needed a bigger down payment. So I just took a bunch of money, and but I wish I would have left it. You know what I'm saying? But it's all good. I have a better idea of how to do things now. However, I don't fuck with options and day trading.
Yeah.
I just do the easy.
Yeah, you got to stay in your comfort zone, and
Right.
that's people. You know, you try to jump out of your comfort zone just to, and that's when you really start gambling. When you don't understand something, but it's like a fear of missing out. We call it FOMO,
Right.
and you just, I just want to just do this, and that what you just said is intelligent. Like you shouldn't do anything that you're not comfortable doing, and also what you said as far as like the stocks not really being like real work, and it's real because it's like, you know, most of us, we're trained to work from the neck down, physical, hard labor. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
as far as like, we're taught, like, especially men, like, we're like, if your back isn't hurting at the end of the day, if your nails aren't dirty, it's a hard day's work.
Work hard.
That's what they respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a man's.
And I never bought into that. So
Right.
we work from the neck up. And it's like, we make money off of our brain. So it's like, it's just a blessing. Like we could sit in front of a camera and make content and just have a conversation and package it up, put it on YouTube, put it in pot and make money from literally just retaining information, getting information, having conversations. Like that's using your brain. And that's another thing that really starts to change too. When you realize that the hard labor thing is a trick that was taught to us because they need somebody to do hard labor.
Right.
So they like,
and they teach that this is valiant, this is respectable.
Yeah.
Because it's making them rich.
It's an honorable profession.
Right.
and it
Right.
is, but it's like that's not the only way.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's like if that's what you choose to do, salute to you. But to say like that's the only way, and if you're not doing that, you're not a real man. You're not. Nah, it's not true because the people that are employing you are not doing that. Like they
Correct.
got you in the field, they got you doing all of these things, packaging boxes and all that. And like I said, I'm not looking down on that because that's the environment that we come from. But they have a boss, and their boss is in an office, in a chair,
Maybe.
not doing any
Right.
labor at all. He's literally just dictating information. So it's
Right.
like now you got to really start to peel back the layers. Like, okay, well, if this is real work, but he's making more money than I'm making, what's the work that he's doing?
Right.
That's real work.
Yeah.
That's the real
He
word.
might be taking calls from the Turks and Caicos, getting emails.
Exactly.
Why you
Like we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
real. But it's funny you say that. Every friends that I have, my friends, we're all together. We all work together. You know what I mean? I don't have time to be hang out just to hang out with people. You know what I'm saying? So we all
Tell us about
we
it.
all work together. But I do have friends that are good friends of mine that just do other things. And one of them, shout out to Big Tony, is my guy. And he had an electric company. He's an electrician by trade, and he was popping. He was doing great. Then we lost communication for a couple years, and a few years, like 3-4 years. Then we reconnected because he don't have social media at all, so it's hard to find him. So we just ran into each other and chopping it up. And I was asking him about the business. He's like, "Yeah, man, got rid of it. I'm a cop now." I'm like, "Why?" And it's a different perspective. Like, owning a business is not the sexiest thing either. You know what I mean? He made a lot of money. He explained, I made a lot of money, but I am so stressed, and I have no time for my daughter, for my girl. He says, now, I own my house. I got good benefits. I get decent wage. I know when's my vacation. This is good for me. And he's a real chill, mild-mannered person, so that works for him, and I respect that. And a part of me envies that contentment, because I'm not content with anything. You know what I'm saying? Like when people say, "When will you retire?" I'm like, "What? Like, what is that? Like, why would I retire?"
Yeah.
It's like, there's no reason. Like you said, working from the neck up, you don't have to retire.
Yeah.
It's not. You're not breaking your back.
But
You know what I'm
retirement
saying?
is a mindset too, right? Because most people now think retirement has to be an age, and some people retirement is a number. And when you retire, that means you're stopping from work by definition. But you're not working, right? You're chasing your purpose on a daily basis.
I think of retirement as I'm not doing anything to make any kind of income anymore.
Yeah,
You know
just
what I'm
sitting
saying?
back in a
Just sitting
rocking
back.
chair.
I can't. I don't want. Maybe when I'm older, that'll chill out. Maybe. But the way my mind thinks, it's like it's so many things. I
But
can
that's
do.
even like I said, I think we entrepreneurs and business people is just trained. It's just different. It's like even like all right, I get off work. Like you said, I get off of work. Like to me, there's no get off work. You wake up, and from the time you wake
choose
up
to
to
go
the
to
time
sleep
to the
when-
time you go
yeah.
to sleep, you always working.
Doing something.
It's like you might take breaks in between. You might go to your kid's soccer game. You might eat. You might work out. But then you always go, and then it's like there's always something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like even the idea of having a work day that stops. Most entrepreneurs, they don't have that, and it's
not
like
a
there's no
thing.
weekends. Like if something needs to be
Yeah.
done on the weekend, you gotta do it on the weekend.
Yeah, I choose to just shut down. That's what I tell people. It's not like, when are you gonna be done? Like, don't ask that, because I'll stop when it's time. I'll just stop working tonight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm not done. So don't think I'm done.
Yeah. That's the
so
model.
many things to be done.
I'm
you know
always
what I'm saying?
I'm always working.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can perfect something. I can do more content. I can always do something. But yeah, I want to shift a little bit. Yesterday we got a small victory with the conviction of Chauvin, and it's interesting because I was running around that I needed to be here, but I said, "Nah, I'm gonna sit home. I gotta watch this. I want to see this nigga's face." You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, I'm looking at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, take that. Like, there was no doubt that he was getting these convictions, because I didn't watch the trial, but I chimed in here and there. I'm like, and I listened to the defense, because people, like, I don't care. I'm not an echo chamber guy. I want to see what the opposition is on, right? And I want to see how formidable his defense attorney is. I want to see if they got anything. You know what I mean? I'm like, you have nothing. Like,
Yeah.
so I was confident.
Yeah.
If they would have acquitted him, I'm like, whatever happens is supposed to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
To this every city. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that was some gratification. How y'all feel about all of that?
I think accountability was the word of the day for me. It was finally that somebody was being held accountable for an action. But on the opposite side of it, it was think about how we felt in that moment that he was found guilty. Joyous, some people felt celebratory, but why? Right? You got to think about the why. It's because we
always
already
lose
knew,
that,
we
yeah.
already saw what happened. The fact that we thought that there could be a different outcome,
Right.
and it wasn't that outcome, felt joyous.
That's strange.
And that's an issue.
Yeah.
That's an issue in itself. And I was on the way here, we were talking about it. 20 minutes after that verdict, a young woman was killed in Columbus, Ohio, shot 4 times in the chest. And so now, do we have to fight again for accountability?
Well, do you know the facts around that situation?
Well, they said that she had called the police. There was a knife that she had brandished. I think she was attacking 2 of the people who were coming to fight her. The police came, and the video shows her being shot 4 times. The body cam shows her being shot 4 times. But literally, that encounter happened 20 minutes after
Yeah.
they found the verdict.
Yeah.
And so accountability is the word. But that other side of it, too, is like we're feeling celebratory because something happened that we thought, like we saw what happened.
Yeah.
It was obvious to us.
Yeah.
And this verdict should have been obvious to us, but the fact that it could have not been was a joyous moment, which is like, all right, there's something deep there.
I piss a lot of people off in the fitness industry, right? Because the fitness industry is mostly white people, and you'll see these people like influencers in the space. Some guy yesterday, he posted the George Floyd, all the stats, and then a white guy that got killed by a cop, all the stats, and the cop that killed the white guy got off, and then it said, you guys, like, this the media making this a race thing. I'm like, this is dumb. I said, this is very, very weird that you're posting this right now, right? The media, yeah, fuck the media. They do exacerbate a lot of things, right? And people up top want division. However, it does not take away from the fact that there is a problem with racism. I said, it doesn't bother you because you're not black. I'm black. I've been black all my life. And racism is a thing. So this is dumb. Like, and I'm always checking them. You know what I'm saying? I check anybody on that try to come out and abate our cries. Don't say nothing. You don't understand it. You don't feel it because it's not happening to you. Just ignore it. But don't try to come out and say something against it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I told my friends, I mean, I worked in a school predominantly white, and I told them it becomes draining, right? You represent every black person when you're the only person there.
Right.
And so I felt a little bit different than your perspective. It was like, if you don't feel a way, then do you really care about me? And if you don't say something, are you complicit?
Right.
And so it goes back to that having conversation and open dialogue. Let me hear your perspective. Let me tell you mine. And maybe we can see there's a common ground there. Yeah, but it's interesting, man, having those conversations, and obviously the time that we're in, they need to be had and perspectives need to be listened to. But reform and change is definitely something that's necessary.
Yeah, I'm not even doing all that, explaining myself and having perspectives and all that, because I feel like it's 2021. If you ignorant to what America has been built on and the race issues in this country, in this world, I'm not the person that's going to explain it to you. You know what I'm saying? Either you educate yourself or you seek guidance from other people, but I'm not doing that. It's a waste of time. And I feel like, luckily, and that's another thing too. I just realized this because I was listening, shout out to Charlamagne. He has an audio book. And it's like conversations with people, like black people talking to white people, explaining different things. And it was one sister, and she was explaining to a white guy how hard her life is as far as like having to deal with these race battles and having constantly be looked over by her white counterparts and being disrespected by white men and da-da-da-da. And I'm reading this and I'm listening to it and I'm like, yo, it just dawned on me like, damn, I really can't even relate to that because we've isolated ourselves so much. We've created our own ecosystem. We're not in the corporate structure. We're not in corporate world. We're not even dealing with nobody like that. Like our counterparts is all like people that's us, like our same people that like look like us, that talk like us. Like we've literally created our own Black Wall Street in a sense with this online entrepreneur space. And I'm like, that's a blessing because we're not in the corporate world. We don't have a white boss. We don't have somebody who we have to explain what my name is and how to pronounce my name. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a blessing within itself. And I feel like we spend a lot of energy trying to educate ignorant people.
But the reality of most of our people are in those spaces. So I think we should, especially those of us with some knowledge of self and some leverage, should be trying to help arm them with information. I feel like we all need to be on code for one, but we need to arm them with information, and just so they have that, they can see a lot of cats, especially in like say the fitness industry, brothers, they hit me up on the low. Like, I like when you said such and such. Yeah. I be wanting to say like, say that shit on, say that on the post. But I don't, cause I get it. Like you probably work for them, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Or
that's that. It goes back to the fear.
Right,
What's the consequence
but the
if I do it?
reality of certain people's situation is they're there.
Right.
They're getting a paycheck. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I'm not willing, like, I'm not about to just hire, all right, you come under me just because you black. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if you provide benefit that can help the operation, yeah. But I'm not going to, like, put a certain battery in people back to get fired. You know what I'm saying?
But do you feel like, because I feel like we've been explaining ourselves, you're right, most people aren't in that situation. But this goes back to the 60s, even before that. And it's like, at what point do we just stop? Like, you know what I'm saying? As far as like, we focus on what we need to focus on, build our own ecosystem, and like, stop trying to explain things to people that are never going to get it. They didn't get it in 1950. They didn't get it in 1970. They didn't get it in 1980. They didn't get it in 1990. They still making stupid jokes, stupid remarks. It's like,
I'm with you. I do not disagree with you. My perspective is a little bit different because, you know, sometimes I have a chip on my shoulder and I want you to feel uncomfortable. Certain people, you know what I'm saying? Because you're saying things, this doesn't make me uncomfortable because I'm good, right? But you're saying it with no regards of what a lot of black people would feel. You know what I'm saying? Especially it's probably black people that support you. You know what I'm saying? So I want you to feel uncomfortable, because in the corporate world is interesting, man. Like I tell people all the time, like there's a lot more honor in the streets. You know what I'm saying? Because people will have certain consequences if I said something about you in the streets or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the corporate world is none. You know what I'm saying? And then these guys would say the worst things about each other and shake hands when they see each other. And they've tried that with me. I'm like, nah, what are you doing? Get out of my face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it got to where I gotta be honest, like early in my career in the fitness space at expos, I would take my homie that was a cop with me, mobbing around, because I'd be wanting to put hands on these guys. You know what I'm saying? And then now I got this guy, he's an alibi. Like the cop said, oh, I was scared. And you know what I'm saying?
But you leading by demonstration.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's the key. And my thing was like, yeah, explain it to adults and try to is one thing, but when you lead by demonstration, then the youth can see it, right? And so now, for me, especially working in these school districts, it was like, he's not like those guys. Like, Mom, I know this man. Like, you see what I'm saying? And so I became the demonstration for what it was to be a positive role model in that space.
Right.
And so, yeah, it is draining. Like I said, there's plenty of times where you feel drained trying to explain to people who just won't get it.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, why even drain you? Because it's like,
no, but
it doesn't drain me.
What I'm saying,
it's petty on my part. I'm being honest.
It's petty. I'm saying for my situation, it was because they really didn't get it, and it was like, you know what, I'm gonna lead by demonstration.
Right.
And that's what it'll have to be. It won't be a verbal situation. We have a conversation like, this is why that was wrong.
Right.
We're going to lead by demonstration to see like, all right, look what they did.
Right.
Look what they did.
Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
But you're 100% right. We shouldn't have to explain anything.
Yeah.
Right. When I explain things, it's because I know it's gonna be hard for you to accept that. You know what I'm saying? Certain people. So that's why, and that's not cool. You know what I mean? But
and then I realized too, there's two Americas, and sometimes even people that have great intentions, they just still can't get it, because it's like, if you are a white person, you come from a working class, middle class white neighborhood, not even a rich white neighborhood, just a regular middle class white neighborhood, your perception of police has never been bad. Right. They come hand out candy canes for Christmas. They got the soccer leagues. Like,
y'all probably hang out.
No, so
off duty.
So you can't. So when you see these stories of police planting drugs, police killing people, police crooked cops in poor neighborhoods, you don't think that that's even possible, because you've never seen it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's like your brother who's a cop, you don't look like, so you can never fully understand. And it's like you had to do something bad. That's why they say, well, what did they do? Because that's, you can't. Yeah. So it's like, I think it's really almost impossible to ever really bridge that gap or make people fully understand something, because their perspective in the same exact country, sometimes even the same neighborhood, couple of miles, like, you know what I'm saying? Their perspective is so totally different that it's like, nah, you lied to me. Like, that, what you're explaining to me is completely 1,000% different from my experience. So that can't be true.
Right. I say that we need more brothers and sisters in law enforcement, because here's the thing. The culture, policy is not going to change the culture of it. Right. You know what I'm saying?
That's leading by the demonstration.
Right. So if we're there, if I'm in a department and they on some bullshit, they're not gonna be on bullshit if I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, what'd you say? They're not gonna try that around me or whomever. My partner is not gonna target a black or Latino if I'm in the car with him.
No, you know that's 1,000% community policing. It's like, if we in a all white neighborhood, you'll never see an all black police force in a white neighborhood. Mm-hmm. You'll never see that. Yeah. If you did see that, that would be extremely weird to see. Mm-hmm. You have no problem. Nobody ever has a problem seeing an all white police force in a black neighborhood.
That's volatility in itself. 101. That is just something waiting to happen. You know, I had when I had my gym in Miami, like a lot of cops like my content. They come through, and there's a lot of Latino, a lot of black cops, whatever. And one kid, he was young. He's a detective. No, he's about to be a detective, but he was just a cop at the time, Spanish kid. And I was like, yo, so how is it out here? He's like, man, it's fucked up. Like, it's bad. They hate us. I said, because the only time y'all go to the hood is when it's bad, like serve a warrant, some bullshit.
Take somebody.
Go pull up, play basketball. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Go show them that you care about them. I remember there was a cop. There was a white guy. He took us, like, my block was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Jefferson Avenue between Broadway and Bushwick. This is like when the 80s, when crack was king. And look, quiet as kept, my house corrupted my whole neighborhood. My house. You know what I'm saying? But this guy took us all to a Mets game, like everybody. And that was dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He was just a nice person, you know? And you, like, I told him, I said, y'all could do shit like that. Yo, what's your grades like? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell your mom. I'm gonna talk to your mom. You know what I mean? I'm gonna check on you. Whatever.
That's community.
That's community, yeah. And there's none of that. There's none of that.
Yeah.
I try to get. I know a lot of cops, right? And it was, listen, bro, it was scary. Like when all of the protests was going on, they in their feelings on Instagram. Yeah. I'm like, bro, for real? You a cop? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be above emotion. You know what I'm saying? And I try to get a lot of them to come sit down. Let's talk podcast style. They couldn't say things publicly. Yeah. They couldn't come on a record with nothing. They all were told to stay out the media type shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it was bad. It was bad. But on the flip side, cops are not. It's stories, man. I got stories, like, especially when the protest was going on out here. This would have to be an off-camera conversation, but there was a lot of collaboration between cops in the hood out here, because a lot of the people that were rioting and looting were not from the neighborhoods where they were at.
Yeah.
So the cops was like, in the hood was like, yo, all right, this is what we got to do. You know what I'm saying? I was there. You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that off camera. We get nobody in trouble. You know what I mean? But some of them are dope people. Some of them are dope. And I don't want a world with no cops. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's key, man. Like that community piece, right?
Right.
The job as an officer is to serve and protect the community, whereas some people have that overseer mindset. I think KRS said that. Officer and overseer, right? Yeah. You want some clarity, check the similarities.
Correct.
And so if you think in that mindset, right, when Shai just said, when you see an all-white force in a black neighborhood, they're not coming to, hey, how's your mom doing? Right. How's school doing? We're coming to check, take tasks, take somebody. Yeah. And unfortunately, sometimes you see some people taking lives. Right.
There, it needs to be more dialogue, and there needs to be an understanding that it's a complex situation. It's not. We think all cops are bad. Defund the police, take all the money from the because they come with this simple argument like, oh, see what happens when you defund the police?
Right.
See what happens? It's these simple arguments, you know what I'm saying? It's a very nuanced situation that should be dealt with that. But there needs to be dialogue. There's no, when people don't talk, like people say y'all don't talk a few days, like you think it's a problem, you know what I'm saying? There's no dialogue between law enforcement and the community, the inner city, all big cities. You know what I'm saying? So it should be that. I think that's a healthy thing.
Communication.
It's a healthy thing. We all want the same thing. We all want to live, make money, be happy, no crime. We all want that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the issues with race, the media does exasperate. I keep fucking this word up. It makes it worse. The media makes things worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we all want the same. We all want love. We want to raise our kids, make money, go on vacation, whatever. That's what everybody wants. But why are we fighting? You know what I'm saying? Why is there so much unrest in this country? It feels hot. Past 2 years, it felt very hot. You know what I'm saying? And that's not a comfortable feeling. You know, we all arming up, straps everywhere. Like, I was done with that. You know what I'm saying? Last year, we got to get guns. The boys got to learn how to shoot. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, because they doing it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, let's go to the range, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to. I want to. My doors ain't locked at night, and I want that life. You know what I'm saying? But here we are.
Serenity.
This is America.
This is America.
Does it get better?
Only time will tell, man. You know, it's like, one of these things where it's it was built on this. It was built on this. Like, you know what I'm saying? As far as America, you can't erase it. America has done a lot of great things. A lot of good things have come from America, but you can't erase the fact that America was built on slavery. That's just a fact. No matter how you feel about it, that's a historical fact. So until that's fully addressed, until that's fully, made whole from a variety of different standpoints, there's never going to be peace, because that you can't build a house on quicksand. Like, you know what I mean? And that's something that America has never come to terms with fully, and has never fully embraced, that you had a huge genocide of Native people, killed off millions of Native people, and you brought millions of enslaved Africans, not just to America, but all over the world.
Americas, yeah.
And built the greatest nation economically on the backs of free labor for 400 years. And we the descendants of that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we come from that environment. That's our lineage. So yeah, it's always going to be issues, because it's like, you know, you can trace your bloodline back to slave being owned on a plantation. So there's friction and there's issues, and people don't fully understand that. They don't fully appreciate that. And this is why we keep having the same thing. Like I said, whether it's 1960s or it's the Watts riots, it's the Ferguson riots, it's the Minnesota, like, it's the same thing's going to keep happening, because the issues are not being addressed and the issues not being solved.
Mm-hmm. I last year, the whole George Floyd thing, I'm showing people little clips of Do the Right Thing. I'm like, bro, this was 30 years ago. This is a movie 30 years ago.
That's a fact.
The exact same thing happened.
1989.
It's not a coincidence.
That's a fact.
It's because this always happens. We just got cell phones now, and people will record it and just see it, right? Yeah. I do think things are going to get better, and I think things are getting better. It's going to be ugly though. It's going to be a lot of. You're not going to get rid of. I don't care if somebody's racist or not. I don't give a shit. I don't give a fuck. But I do care about racism and institutionally. You know what I mean? In systems. You know, I want things to be fair. That's all. That's it. And I want that back. I want reparations. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I know there's intelligent blacks breaking down why we shouldn't. Like, I'm not hearing that. Everybody else got their just due. Run our back. We probably dealt with the worst shit.
That's a
right?
fact. That's a fact.
But on the flip side of that, our smart people in politics work on that. But we need accountability ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We need to be on code. We need to get our lives together collectively. You know, I think you guys are instrumental in this and what I'm talking about, because, you know, when you have your money together, like, you walk your head a little higher. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You have more confidence, and, you know, you're taking care of yourself, and we don't take care of ourselves. We start at a deficit though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I don't want any of us to latch on to the excuses. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of shit happened. We started out fucked up, but what are you gonna do? We can't just sit back and like, yeah, man, shit. My parents ain't had it, and we can't do that, because we live once.
That's why I think the information that we're giving now, especially when it comes to investing, it becomes that reparation in the sense of like, we're gonna get the money how they've been getting the money. We're going to teach you the skills how to do it. That's now you can get the money the same way. You know what I'm saying? So once the education is there, now that changes the conversation.
That's a fact. We still need reparations though too. But also it's like, we have to do for self. Like,
we have to be excellent.
We have to realize that nobody's coming to save us.
Correct.
And we can't rely on the government. We can't rely on anybody. And you are a prime example of that, as far as, you know, creating a fitness empire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's something that you didn't probably go to school for that, but you taught yourself, you educated yourself, and you took something that you was passionate about and built a business around it. Same thing with us. And these are things that we have to take some accountability in. And this goes back to you know, just things that we glorify, from music to stuff like that. And realize that a lot of stuff has been done to us by design and force, but we still have free will, and we have to take accountability and responsibility, and people with power has to take responsibility for their actions as well, because it's like, if you have influence, if you have power, if you have a following, you know that the vast majority of people that's following you are ignorant on a lot of different levels, and if you're leading them down the wrong path, then you're just as bad as the white man that did that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because now 9 times out of 10, you're past that level of ignorance yourself on a certain level. You're not in the neighborhood. So you're making a conscious decision, financially or whatever, to keep perpetuating these things, but you know that this only leads to death and destruction. So financial destruction, physical destruction, mental destruction, eventually we have to change that. And I think that that's one of the great things with us is like we're champion. Our platform wasn't built on clout. It wasn't built on anything negative. It was just built on just providing information. That's it. Nothing controversial. It's just providing information. And to see people gravitate towards that lets me know that there's an appetite. There's an appetite. It's like that Malcolm X movie when he was showing like the dirty glass of water and the clean glass. He was like, people will drink the clean glass. They just have to have the option to drink it. For so long, we just only saw the dirty glass of water. So
Right.
it's like dirty Sprite. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we
Bro,
just.
I'm with you on that. People think that that's all they want. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. One of my most viral videos is about vegetables. People want good. People want to be healthy. People want to be smarter. People want to make money. People want to be good.
Yeah.
You know, like you see, I put up there, love is my God. Like my whole platform is on love, right? And alpha male, right? It's like, all right, guys, this is what an alpha male is one who leads out of love. You know what I'm saying? People love that. So yeah, there's a lot. This country is it has a rebellious spirit. You know, because of its genesis, they took their freedom from the king of England or whatever, right? I'm like, okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. But, you know, we're here, you know what I'm saying? And we helped you, you know? So it's like, I don't want handouts. I don't want none of that. I want us to work. I want us to be excellent. I want us to hold each other accountable. I want us to check each other. Because if I can't check my brother, then I don't care about you.
Yeah, that's how we grow. That's how we grow.
So yeah, you know, and a brother said, I'm working on a documentary about race, and we was filming in Savannah, Georgia, and this brother, he's an attorney and a historian. He's dope. He was breaking down how, like, because you know we know about how many millions of us died on the passage, right? But he said you didn't know that there was more that died being marched to the shores. You know what I mean? Walking hundreds of miles. You know what I'm saying? He said, I'm gonna break it down in easy math. He said out of 10, 7 would die on that journey just to get to the slave castles. You know what I'm saying? In Ghana, Nigeria, wherever. He said then from there, out of the 3 that survived that, 1 or 2 would die on the passage. So 1 out of 10 that was captured would make it here. You know what I'm saying? So he said, so any of us here that came through that passage is a descendant of powerful people. You know what I'm saying? He said we all got to recognize that and look at our brothers as such and treat each other with respect and love. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's what makes this so dope. It's like there's no assimilation. There was no validation from any outside source.
Correct.
It was us. And
Correct.
now we became a source where people can feel like if they're with them, that's validation. We're making the stamps for ourselves, which is unlike anything we have seen in our community, especially in the business business world.
Right. Him telling me that, it damn near brought a tear to my eye, goosebumps, all of that, right? Without me knowing that, I always had just a love for us. Cause like, yo, we all been through some shit.
And it's like Frederick Douglass. Like I think in Frederick Douglass' autobiography, he said something that was very profound, where it was like, slavery wasn't really designed to last forever. Because after a while, it becomes inefficient. Like what you just said, like just take emotion, humor, just from a pure business standpoint, because that's what slavery was, right? A business. That's a very kind of inefficient way to do things, because you're losing 80% of the people before. It's like people get sick, stuff like that. And it's like once the cotton gin really came out, now manual labor of people actually picking cotton is outdated. And that's the real reason why the North got away from slavery.
They didn't care about freeing the slaves. A lot of them were like, nah, don't free them. They didn't care. It was an economic thing.
It was an economic
thing. It ain't
thing.
benefiting us.
And the Industrial Revolution was up north. It wasn't in the South.
Correct.
And so I say that to say they realized, okay, this isn't going to last forever. It's economically inefficient. There's rebellions. Eventually, we're going to have pushback. So we're going to have to end this thing. But you can still be a slave without actually physically being a slave. So now they keep you in slavery as far as you have to work, and every time you get paid, you never have any payment. You never have any money because you got to give it right back. I'm gonna give you $1,000 and you're gonna give me back 980, and you're gonna get left with 20. And then the government's gonna have to subsidize you, and then you're gonna have to pay that. And then it's like, I'm gonna keep you a slave for consumerism. I'm gonna keep you a slave on drugs. I'm gonna keep you a slave in mental. And this is something that has been going on for long after slavery was abolished. We had 1%, African Americans had 1% of the wealth in America when slavery was abolished. 2021, African Americans have 1% of the wealth. Nothing has changed. So it's like, a lot of times we don't even realize like this is the same game. It's just in a different form.
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at it from that standpoint, it's like, how do we really change the whole dynamic and really like break the glass ceilings? And that's why I'm saying, even like explaining, I think dialogue should happen. But my whole thing is like, now we really got to start thinking, okay, how do we create our infrastructures? And that's not to say we create, a Wakanda where it's only black, because we're in America. Like, I'm American. Like, my parents are not from anywhere but America. So I'm not going anywhere because I'm an American. But we need to be respected, and we need to have the infrastructure right here in the United States of America so we can be respected all across the world, just like every other race has an infrastructure in place, right? And now we can employ white people, we can employ Chinese people, but they're going to respect us because we have something and we're not asking. We're in a position of power. And that's something that until we really have that conversation, until we really fully realize that, we always are going to be in a position of begging, asking, the victim. And that has to change over the course of time, because we can't just always say, okay, well, the majority of our people are working for white people. Why? Because we don't have enough to employ black people.
Right.
Yeah.
Nah. I'm trying to do my part. You know what I'm saying?
That's why I said everybody plays a role.
Right.
Everybody plays a role in this, and that's why I said, can it get better? Go back to the original question. If everybody does a little part, right? Like what we're doing, what we built with Earn Your Leisure, what you're doing with your empire here. If everybody does a piece of it, it gives aspiration and it gives inspiration to the next person. And so like that's how you build, again, community.
Right.
And so the more we have communities, the more we have a seat. And rather than have a seat at a table, we're bringing people to the table. It's our table.
Right.
And so we got to stop trying to get at the table. Like, I need a seat there. No, this is the table.
Creating our table. Yeah.
You're invited to come if we let you come.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It's a different mindset.
And the invites to their tables, we can pass on those. It's okay.
Yeah.
But people out there, you could pass on that bag, a little ass bag. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to always. That doesn't validate us.
That's the carrot.
That doesn't validate us.
The problem with being a guest in somebody's house is you're always a guest, and no matter how many seats you have at a table, it's still not your table. So it's like, all right, we got a dinner party and it's 100 people, and we have 2 guests that's coming to the dinner party. Those 2 guests can't make a change. You can't speak. You go to somebody's house, you got to watch how you talk.
Right.
You got to follow their protocol. You got to take if they want you to take your shoes off, you take the shoes off, or you leave the house. And that's my thing, even with boycotting. I don't get into that, because I feel like if Gucci want to do some nonsense and put black face or whatever, or you name the designer, I mean, hey, that's their right. But if you try and demand these people, they already showed you how ignorant and how much they don't care about you. You try and demand these people show you that they respect you as a human, instead of just creating your own and supporting your own. That's really the best. The best boycott is just use the money that you were spending here and spend it with somebody that really cares about you. That's a boycott within itself.
And that boycott was just an emotional thing anyway. It's not like that many black people buy Gucci for it to be a meaningful impact. You know what I'm saying? For real, because that's a lot of people can't afford Gucci. You know what I mean? Okay, celebrities stop. Y'all probably giving the celebrities Gucci. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. I want our efforts to be meaningful, not theatrical.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was theatrical. You know, I'm like, all right, whatever. And people are like, oh, you got a Gucci belt on. I'm like, you gonna give me the money for this? I want this. You know what I'm saying?
There was no.
It means nothing. There's no meaning to this. For me, you know what I'm saying? It's not a living thing. You know what I mean? So I'm with you on supporting our own and making our own. I'm all about. You said something earlier that resonated, because the big entities appeal to poor people. Poor people consume. People who got knowledge, who are go-getters, create their own. I created my very first supplement company, or supplement, in 2012. Cause I'm like, I can do this. You know what I'm saying? I've researched ingredients. I'm not a chemist. I don't have that kind of background. I've researched the hell out of all the ingredients every night. You know what I'm saying? And start ordering shit online and putting shit together. I was like a little chemist in my own kitchen. You know what I'm saying? So, but people who have that kind of wherewithal mentally do their own thing anyway. You know what I mean? So, I don't expect most people to be on that level, but for me, business-wise, I don't care. Everything I do is above reproach. Like our Q&C is like what the biggest company would do. You know what I'm saying? We have that. We put that much pride in product, in customer service, label packaging. I want everything from A to Z for my customers to be an experience. You know what I'm saying? They feel really appreciated, you know? So, and the team, the squad, it's all love. Like, it's all, we have a ball. You know what I'm saying? We good friends. We travel together. You know what I mean? We see the world. We all see the world together and make money at the same time. That's the vibe that I'm on, and trying to showcase that. You know what I mean? So, I haven't, excuse me, thus far, you know, a lot of people want to get me to talk about business stuff, this, that, and the third. And I kind of just always fell back because, you know, I observe a lot of people who do that and they're not legitimate business people themselves. You know what I'm saying? And I found that there was people selling, charging people for advice on business when they've never had a business. You know what I'm saying? And their business is teaching you business. I didn't see any value in that. I see it now because I know people who follow some of these people and it actually works for them. I can't hate on that. But I never wanted to be confused with just that, just a personality, you know what I'm saying, that can sell anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I literally could sell anything, but I don't want to, and I won't. You know what I mean? So, but I do see value in it, you know, and, you know, I'm in a space to where life is good, and we do a lot. I do a lot for people. Like, yo, I be in the slums, you know what I'm saying? I be feeding people. I be with crackheads. I be with the bottom of the bottom. I don't donate money. I go and get out there myself personally. You know what I'm saying? I don't recommend that for everybody. It's not it's up to your comfort level, but I do shit. But what I want to do with scale is help people. You know what I'm saying? I've been helping them a great deal, you know, with the training and the nutrition, and I always give mind state and perspectives. That's why a lot of people vibe with me, you know. But I wanna get into like a full spectrum of us being stand-up people, period, on every level. You know what I mean? So, you know, maybe we can all sit down one day.
Yeah, for sure.
And brainstorm. Sure. And I think that we all have, you know, when I first started seeing y'all, first of all, the title, the name, I loved it. I was like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like a book. Certain books, the cover, I know what it's about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I get it. Earn your leisure. You're damn right. Earn it. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. And I like, y'all vibe is dope. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all the culture. I'm so proud of black people. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
That's it.
And here's another thing, another perspective. I think about this. Being in the mirror, we was building one night, and I was like, yo, we're different. Right? What they say, we're about 14% of the population. We're like 90% of the culture. You know what I'm saying? So much brilliance come out of our stars in whatever genre, even in science, high academia with Neil deGrasse Tyson. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sports, entertainment, whatever. You know? Even in, once again, academia, I don't know if you guys ever seen the debate with Jordan Peterson and Michael Eric Dyson.
No, I didn't see that.
Dyson had his way with him.
Okay.
And Peterson is very formidable mentally. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you seen him up against a giant, a Godzilla, he was whining. He was crying. You know what I'm saying? But not making it a us versus them thing. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is, with such a small amount of us here, our impact is heavily felt around the globe.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean?
That's a fact.
It's not the same for our brothers in Africa. You know, I travel the world, and everywhere I go, even if they don't know who I am, when they know I'm a black American, they're like intrigued.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I lived in the UAE for a while, and for like a year, and blacks do not get respect out there. but Black Americans got wasta. They got respect. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting. But us here, we got to really see. A lot of us don't travel, so we don't know how the world looks at us. You know what I mean? And the world looks at us in high regard. We got to look at ourselves in high regard. You know, we got to respect each other and like treat each other like kings. Like I've heard people say, "Well, not all Africans were kings." Shut up. We gotta put those attributes on each other.
Yeah.
God, King, peace, God, all of that.
Celebrate
because
each other.
exactly, we need to raise our self-estimation. A lot of us have low self-esteem. That's why a lot of us do dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? I think if we respected ourselves more, we would elevate our behavior and our conversation and everything else. And I just salute y'all because y'all are raising that kind of consciousness, and I appreciate y'all. You know what I mean?
Love is
I
love.
appreciate you, bro.
Yes,
And like
sir.
I said, it was dope for me because I was always into fitness forever. So I was following you before we had Earn Your Leisure. I've been following you, and so it's dope to see your progression. Like I was a fan, like I said, for years.
That's
So
dope.
it's dope to see your progression. Yeah. So every life comes 360. You never know what's gonna happen. So us even sitting here right now is like kind of a surreal moment because, like
That's
I said,
dope.
I was actually following you before you even knew who I was.
Right.
And now we having conversations. So
That's dope. Because when I went to your page, I think, and I said, "Oh, this cat follow me." I'm so special. Like, I follow me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's dope.
It means something.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it does.
Yeah, for sure.
It's some people I just really like. I really
Yeah.
respect. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, there's celebrities I don't give a fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not starstruck by shit. You know what I'm saying? I just don't care. I'm a man. Like, if I had nothing, I wouldn't care. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, just like I would never want to be in somebody's camp. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Part of my entourage. Like, nah, I'm cool. You know what I mean? But I respect good people, you know what I'm saying? And powerful people. Y'all are powerful. Y'all are powerful because you see the influence that you have. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And y'all are good people. Y'all dope. So
Appreciate
I rock with
that,
y'all,
I
man.
appreciate
Yes, sir.
appreciate it, bro.
That's
Thank you.
something that we need to acknowledge and celebrate too. It gets discounted because they look at us and it's like it's Earn Your Leisure, but nah, it's really two black men who decided to work together, put ego aside, bring their family with them, educate the masses, and change the trajectory of our community. And it gets overlooked because we're doing it on a daily basis. But I appreciate you giving us the platform to even shine a light on that. So thank you.
Appreciate
Yes,
you.
sir. I appreciate y'all for coming down. Let the people know where they can find y'all at.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, thank you for having us. Appreciate it, brother. Earn Your Leisure across all social media handles. Earn Your Leisure's YouTube. EarnYourLeisure.com has all of our information for our podcast, for our YouTube, social media, merch, all of that stuff. So once again, thank you for having us, brother. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
I was nervous. I thought we was gonna get a workout in. I said, "Oh man, we gotta do an interview."
I mean,
this
shit, we
week."
can still get it in. You know?
I said, "I need my
what's up.
legs."
That's what's up. All right, man. I appreciate y'all, and we up out of here.
All right, peace.
Peace.